Hello and welcome back to another daily cribbage. We are against Benoit. Wish them good luck. I feel like you should pronounce that something different, but I won't. I won't try. Okay, maybe it's Benoit. Alright, so we've got a flush in hand. It seems pretty good actually. The other option is a7, keeping 3, 3, 4, 9. I'm going to just keep the flush because we block some 3 9s in the crib, so it seems pretty good. We get to lead 4 as well, which is nice. Because if our opponent pairs it, we get to play our 7, and we get a lot of points here. Let's see if they've got an ace. Aces go with 7 8s as well because of 6, 7, 8 ace. Opponent has a 4 as well. They didn't want to pair our 4 to begin with, probably fearing the triple 4. Opponent does have a good hand though, 12 points with double 7, double 8. We managed to squeeze a little bit of points out of them on the play. Okay, we got ace 4 jack of clubs, no 4th club for any flushes, so it looks like we're throwing away double 6. If we wanted to hope for a lot of points, we could try and keep 4, 6, 6 together, but it's really not worth it. We can play a jack here. Point is if our opponent plays a 10 or a 9, we get 31. And if our opponent has double ace, I guess we can go 4 and just play out this ace nice and slowly to get 31. But we do give away a couple of points for our opponent. Opponent only showing us double 5, double 8. Doesn't really combo too much. But neither does our hand. But we do get a lot going on in the crib. Wow, opponent did not want to give us a 5 in the crib, so that's good. Okay, we've got a long run, ace to 5. Usually, one way to deal with this is to go ace jack. Another way is to go discard ace 2. I'm going to go ace jack here. This does turn into 8 points very often, so it seems fine to me. And we'll go for this 15. Opponent plays 25. And I'm going to go for maximum exploit. And I'm going to see if I can get another 2 points from the play. Just like that. Why did I want to do that? Well, I just really wanted to get as close as I could to 44. Just for position. I think that it's still very valuable for us to try and squeeze out as many points as we can from the play. The amount of value, or the amount of the equity that you get, the percentage chance that you win, it goes up significantly at certain times depending on your score. And in this case, the more points that we can get, it increases our equity quite a lot. So if we can just get to the next positional milestone before our opponent, it's going to be fantastic for us. So for instance, right here, I'm very tempted to throw away 6 jack in order to try and hit the double runs. And if we don't hit it, that's also fine. I don't mind. Because we are also quite ahead of our opponent, so this is all okay. Opponent had another 4, they didn't want to get tripled, so they played very defensively. We get a couple of points out of our 3 as well. So we're somewhat behind. Our opponent isn't in a position to really strike because they need 13 points to get to the milestone. We've got a flush in hand. That's better than everything else that's going on in it. If we didn't have the flush, we'd go 7, 9. 2 on top, so I'm going to play... it was worth playing, actually, one of our 10s because we have an ace. Opponent might be about to show us a 3 and give us the bad news that we are doing really badly, but they don't. They show us the 4, which is only 8 points, takes them up to 67. And we are struggling to make our milestone here. We've not hit very much, but we're still in a good position. That's the nice thing about position, is it doesn't go away very fast. I don't want to give our opponent 7, 8. That's all I'll say about this hand. But I also want to score points pretty badly. I'm just going to keep the 4 here. Does our opponent have an 8? Yep, they do. Okay, that is fine. 10, 9, 8, 7 for our opponent. Gives them 6 points. Was it a flush? No, they didn't have a 7. That was my 7. 10, 9, 8, 6. Okay. Okay, and what's this one all about? This one's kind of tricky. There's a few options. So first of all, we might see the 5, 10, 5 jack or the double 4 throwaways, but then there might even be something like 7, 10 here. 7, 10 might be a play. I could think about this position for ages. I'm going to go 7, 10 because I don't normally do that. Okay. The opponent starts off with the 6. Come up to 29. I'll play out one of my 4s here. Does our opponent have 7s and 8s? They have a 6. No. 6, double 9, 7. For 8 points. Opponent doesn't quite make their milestone there. Computer hates it, but it should be noted that all these options are pretty reasonable. And the point was that if we high rolled on that, then we're doing excellently. Yeah, king queen is kind of fine. Maybe 2 king is slightly preferred, but I'm just gonna. Oh no, the 5 is really bad for us here. And our opponent could be getting a lot of points, especially if they have another 3 or an ace. Oh no, this is bad news. Very bad news. So 108 points for our opponent. They're not quite in striking range. They need more points than this to go out. 5 queen is quite clear. And if they have another 6, so be it. Play out the 8. I think our opponent... Oh, 2. Okay, so maybe our opponent has 4s. No, 7. Okay. Opponent does hit with the 4 on top, so... Alright. Okay, very difficult. I may have to focus a lot for this. Or that could happen. Wow. Okay, well, we have an out now. If our opponent doesn't have too many 5s, then we can we win. Please don't have 5s. Let's see if we can avoid giving away a lot of points. Okay. Okay, this is going well. I think we win now. They only get 2 points. Oh. Quad queen for the win. Wow, good game. That was crazy. Let's take it back. There are a lot of very instructive points for this game. I'm going to have to decline that best 2 out of 3 from my opponent. Alright, so this is the position that I claimed was extremely complicated. Let's slow down and have a look at what happened here, because I saw myself making one of many different decisions and I just didn't know what to do. And it can be worth going back to those moments and trying to work out what's the best thought process. How can we streamline our thinking process in these situations? Okay, so the position is I'm at 75 as the dealer and our opponent is at 82 as pawn. Opponent is about 14 points away from their next milestone at 96. They're about 3 or 4 rounds away from winning the game. If they win the game in 3 rounds, it's going to be very difficult for us to catch because we are far behind that particular track. But if our opponent goes out in 4 rounds, it's going to be great for us because we're going to be getting there, going to try and be going out as pawn in 4 turns. So that's our thought process for sort of positional considerations here. We would like to stop our opponent from scoring quite big on the play, And when we look down at our hand, how happy are we here? Well, we've got 4-4-5, so it sounds good on the surface with 4-4-5, but then we've got 7-10 jack, so a little bit sparse there. Not really connecting too well. So what did I consider here? What are the important points? Well, if we just go for lots of points, how can we do that? Well, as I mentioned in the game, we can discard 4-4, we can discard 5-10, and 5-jack. Probably 5-jack is worth the most here, but 5-10 is also pretty fine too. 4-4 is quite good in the crib, it can make some double runs, but we do block 5s, although our opponent's never throwing away 5s themselves. If we do keep 5-10 jack 7 in hand, then we can hit 6s, which are okay for us. They would be better if we kept 4-4-5, 6s would be incredible. So for instance, as I did in the game, throwing away 7-10, if we hit a 6 or a 3, then our hand is going to be worth at least 12 points. Well, I guess if we cut a 3, then that's 10 points, but that's close enough. And that puts us in good position for getting to the next milestone at the end of next round. However, one of the things is that our hand doesn't play amazingly. If we keep 5, 7, 10 jack, we don't have much control of the low end, we don't have any low cards, so our opponent might be able to exploit us a little bit, get a lot of points out of magic 16s, magic 11s, 3-card magic 11s, 3-card magic 16s, and so on. So that could be a little bit of trouble for us. The other thing, if we throw away 5-jack, 5-10, these leave us with a hand that's fairly playable. I mean, double 4, 7-10, double 4, 7-jack. Right, we've got a mix of low cards in our 4s. We've got a pair of 4s as well, so there are some opportunities for us to finish out with a pair of 4s at the end and get some points that way. So I think there's many different options here, and I don't think that... I think it depends how you want to think about this position. The position is that we really want to avoid our opponent getting lots of points on the play. So it'd be really helpful for us to have a really playable hand to stop our opponent getting to 96 at the end of this round, or at the beginning of, or at the end of the next play when they're playing pwn, just to set us up well going into the next few rounds. So I don't think 7-10 is, so even though 7-10 is quite bad in terms of expected average, I don't think it's too bad in terms of strategy. The point is we leave ourselves with outs in the 3s and the 6s, which allow us to get lots of points, but on average, of course, we are losing out because there are many cuts that aren't doing anything for us at all. But we can leverage the fact that we're slightly ahead of where we would want to be for our position. You know, position says that the milestone is at 70, we're at 75, we're a little bit ahead, so it's okay to spend a little bit of that on leaning into some variance that can help us. That's my thinking anyway. Of course, there are other considerations, like if we just throw away 5-10, 5-jack, it can improve our crib quite a lot, especially against discards that would otherwise sort of score us 0. Our opponent's safe discards become quite useful for us when we throw away 5s. So let's have a look at what the computer says about all of these discards. Let's get a bit more precise with all of our discard averages, and let's see how they might change given the particular position we're in. Okay, so here we have a little bit of analysis from Liam Brown's website. We're looking at the best discards, and well, a lot of them are pretty good. The one that stands out above the others is discarding 4-4, and I realized something that I missed in my analysis, which was that the 10 and the jack in the hand are connected. So if ever we hit a 9 or a queen, it's a really good cut for us because we get 3 points for the run. And I think this is actually very important here. So if we have a look, the next discards are 5 jack, 5 10, 10 jack as well. Apparently that's quite good. I didn't think of 10 jack too much, but I guess the point is that it makes, well, it's 2 10s in the crib, which is not generally what you want to do. But if you hit a 3 or a 6, it's still pretty good. And in fact, it almost makes as many points as the 7-10 discard that we chose in the game. Yeah, as we analyze it more and more, my 7-10 discard's not looking so good. So there's definitely something to learn here. So the 10 jack being connected is quite important, and that's the reason why these 4s are sort of the best discard here. So let's compare it. If instead of a jack we had a king, then how would this affect our discard? Well, I ran this already over here, and we can see that, so I've got the king of spades instead of the jack of spades, so the 10 and the king aren't connected anymore, and the favored discard is now 5-10, and we can see that the average has gone down quite a lot. Now the average for discarding 4-4 is quite a lot less. The other discards like 7-10, 7-king, it's harder to say, and I'm curious to know why 7-10 scores less than 7-king. They're worth the same in hand, but it's just that 7-king makes more in the crib. Whereas 7-king makes more in the crib than 7-10. That's a little bit strange, because I would have thought that 7-10 would make more runs, but I suppose the point is that our opponent throws away more kings into the crib. Maybe that's the reason? Not sure why that is. Of course, 7-10 is semi-connected. It's not even a 1-gapper. We need an 8 and a 9 to make it into a run. So it's not making a run very often, and it needs 2 very specific cards to do it. Very strange. Yeah, I don't think I understand quite why 7-king scores better than 7-10 there. However, in this one, we see that 7-jack scores better than 7-10. And that's because in the crib, 7-10 scores a lot less than 7-jack. Which is really strange to me. I would have thought that 7-10 would have scored better in the crib than 7-jack, because I guess jack and 10s make a very similar number of runs. It's not as close anymore when you're looking at jacks and 10s compared to kings and queens. But still, opponent doesn't throw away many jacks into the crib. But even still, apparently the average is quite high. I'm not sure why that is. If anyone can explain that to me, I would be eager to know. I'm also not sure exactly which discard tables these computations are based off. I know they're custom calculated by Liam Brown himself, but maybe there are still some slight problems with it. I don't know. I won't say that I'm not saying that this is a problem, I'm just saying it's slightly unexpected. Another discard that I didn't consider at all is 4-7, and the idea with 4-7, just like with discarding 4-4, is that you keep the 5 with the 2 10s in hand. I think that it's clear that 4-7 is worse than throwing away 4-4, although it does give you the option to hit things like double runs, or single runs, with 3s and 6s, which can be quite good to do as well. But yeah. My instinct were originally to throw away 4-4 and 5-jack or 5-10, but I came to choosing 7-10 because I liked how it played, and there are some chances of getting some really good cuts. So 6s and 3s would be excellent for us. However, if we discard the pair of 4s, we're not giving up on those cuts at all. Not at all. If we cut a 6, it's still very fine for us. And there are some cribs that are really good for us with 4-4, especially if our opponent throws away something like ace-king. which sometimes is a very safe discard, but in this case would run into at least 6 points for us. And finally, we get lots of points from queens and nines. We get to make a run, and we also sometimes get an extra 15, say from the queen. So I think we missed out on a little bit of value there, but thankfully we managed to make it up with a little bit of variance later, hitting those quad queens. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed that one. I think we could go into a lot more detail here, but I'm going to call it for now, and I will see you next time for another daily cribbage. Bye for now.